It's going great.
Yeah.
How's it going with you guys?
Pretty well.
Anyway, it's a bright light there. In the shade.
That pesky distractions is back again. More about conferences and Catholic schools and meetings.
Really?
Yeah.
Been in practice for a couple hours.
Do you think Thursday would be better served being part of
I'm not sure. You know, like that's, I mean, it's a question du jour. And so there's so many factors that come into it. You know, it's easy to, and I think it was Craig last week, you know, what are you guys going to do? What are you going to do? You know, what are you just going to sit there? And so there's so many things that need to be explored, analyzed. I said it just like that. Explored, analyzed, looked at above and beyond whatever's on the surface. And so it's a deep question that our leadership here at Georgetown is going through that exercise. And so I don't think it's as cut and dry as, what are you going to do? Well, everyone's leaving, so you should do this. I think you need to go through and look at where you stand as it relates to a whole litany of issues. You know, where you stand right now, and where if you do something different, where you will stand as it relates to a whole litany of issues. And so it's not an easy answer. It's something that much like every other institution in this country probably right now, you know, we're going through that exercise.
Do you expect it to be resolved in the next 48 hours, or
I have no
there's
idea.
put a 6-month timetable on it,
I have no idea.
which is one of
I have no idea.
Well, what's your sense of how the Big East basketball profile was altered when it was and that's their and stepping into tempo.
So, what's the question again? I'm sorry.
Just what's your sense of how has the Big East basketball profile, its prestige, its you know,
It's been altered.
likely to be affected?
I think that, you know, that's one of those things where we haven't had the luxury of playing out how it is going to look. So it's hard to analyze that and answer that question. You know, you've heard me say several times, you know, that we've gone from unquestionably the best basketball conference to arguably the best basketball conference, and it still is evolving and changing since that. And so it's hard to like sit here right now and say, ooh, how has it been altered when we haven't operated under the new teams, the new league, the new formula, the new world that we live in yet?
You said back in the media day that you added some of those courses and just gave you more opportunity to recruit in different areas. That was something you were looking forward to. Does that still kind of outweigh more the adding more schools who don't maybe have a traditional basketball, high-growth basketball program, potentially for RPI or things like that?
No, and if you took that as that outweighs everything, I didn't mean it. I think that is a bonus of being able in those big cities. You know, but as I said to the first question, I mean that Georgetown, along with every other school in the country, is going through the due diligence, the exercise, the research, and so this is something that I think the public maybe wants, or you guys want an emotional response, as opposed to a thought-out, educated, planned decision by the institution, by the league, by whomever. And so there's a whole laundry list of factors that need to be considered, that are being considered, that are being analyzed, that we're going through that exercise right now.
But when you hear talk about the Big East being potentially dissolved, as someone who the Big East has played a major role in their life, I mean, how does that make you feel just to even hear the notion of that? Is that incomprehensible to you?
I think I would have my head in saying, I would say it's incomprehensible right now. The Big East absolutely has been a part and is a part of my life. You know, I can't say intimately, but as a fan initially, now intimately involved inception. But, and this goes to what you guys have heard me say, we're going through an evolution. And change happens, and I don't think it's necessarily presumptuous that it's going to be dissolved or that the basketball in the schools are going to definitely break off. I think we're going through the exercise right now, and I think a lot of people are kind of running away with that and making assumptions as to what's going to happen. And I'm not in a position to say yes or no, but I think that I think we're sorry. A lot of you guys are kind of fast forwarding, and everyone's just doing the research right now.
Are you part of the consideration process with the leadership? Do they ask your opinion? Do you want to give them your opinion?
Of the conference?
Yeah, you said the university and the leadership is making the decision and thinking and factoring everything in. Do they ask your opinion about everything?
Every now and again.
Today?
I've been in practice.
So many
Did anything happen today that you guys fill me in? No, you guys know most of the stuff's going before I do. Help me out here.
There was a report that the 7 presidents.
Okay.
I get that.
I know they met the other day.
They met it Sunday, and also both.
How important do you think? I mean, everything's changing and you don't know what's going to happen. No one really does. What sort of importance value do you place on the name, the Big East, having a conference tournament at Madison Square Garden? How much do you think those things matter going forward?
I think that's all a part of what's being considered right now. And that's possibly part of the litany of the things that are being kicked around and talked about and discussed. But it's all encompassing. Like, I think that I get the feeling that you just want a small little capsule and say, this is I felt you were the other day. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna like? Okay, great, that sounds good, but you have to do your homework and just see how all this could possibly affect. And so if you make a move, how does that affect you? If you don't make a move, how does that affect you? If you go north, south, east, west, there's so many factors that go into this. Has not been, at least on this institution's part, and will not be, I don't think I'm out of line speaking for President Jordan or Mr. Reed. It's not going to be an emotional decision. It's going to be a decision based on research and projections of what's best for this institution, as much as we can control. Because there's so much, you've heard me say this from day one, there's so many factors because we don't have football that we can't control. There's so many tables that we will not be able to sit at and be a part of. But what we can't control, I think that it's you go from you're not doing anything, to when you sit down and have a meeting, or you're leaving. And I don't necessarily, neither one of those is necessarily accurate.
Since, roughly 2003, it seems as if football decisions have driven decision-making in many conferences, because of the student revenue that it represents. Do you feel now that the interests of predominantly basketball schools are being heard sufficiently in Big East decision-making? Do you have the leverage, the voice, the representation? You meaning the 7 with like-minded for...
Yeah, so I think that the first part of your question was a statement that, without a doubt, the football dollars associated with football are driving what is going on in the collegiate athletics across the board, every conference right now. That's common knowledge. So then the second part of your question was?
So I mean, given that's not really in dispute, do you feel now, like today going forward, do the 7 Big East predominantly basketball schools, are you comfortable with the voice they have at the table, with the leverage, the power, the influence they wield? The Big East, in the broad sense, makes decisions going forward. Are the school's interests well represented? Sufficiently represented?
I don't want to answer that wrong. I think so. I think so.
One question.
Any expectations from Western Carolina?
Well, let him keep going.
Can a college
Shep will jump in when he has to.
Can a college basketball only conference, let's say that happens somewhere down the road, is that something that can succeed and draw
that's part of what is trying. I think people, one of the aspects that people are looking into right now. You tell me, what do you think?
I'm not sure, but I guess
Neither.
but is there,
And that's why the homework is being done.
I guess to follow up with that, is there enough time to do all that homework before people's hands start to get forced? I mean, we're starting to hear things about 24 and 48 hours.
I don't know.
In all the reports, it seems like the Big East basketball, Salmon, or Catholic schools, however they're talking,
Phone call.
they're sort of all lumped in together. Do you think that's necessarily accurate or fair to do?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we're Georgetown. I gave you money. You can go down to the equipment room speech last week. Were you here for that? So you go down to the equipment room, which is down that hall right there, and you walk in there, and every jersey in there says Georgetown. And that's who we are. So we are being lumped together, fair or unfair. I don't think anything that I can say right now is going to change the fact that people are clumping the basketball schools together. But it is what it is. I think we are Georgetown, and I think that we're unique and different than every other school in many different ways. Don't ask me the follow-up question. That's it.
That said, do you not feel that you have shared values or common interests with the other six?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no.
But the Georgetown brand, I take it, you feel is of the greatest value.
Absolutely.
Because even if the football does sort of drive the financial day, like it seems like most of the schools that are coming, football schools that are going to be here by next year, are not the traditional Big East schools that the conference itself is made off of. What St. John's, Villanova, and so on. Does that seem sort of out of the new schools getting the financial reward for all the work that you guys have essentially laid the groundwork for?
Well, I don't think you can look at it like that. Meaning, the world has evolved from 19 whatever when the Big East was started. 79. I mean, things have changed from a financial perspective to when the Big East started. They went right in. It was, I think I'm right about this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Joined hands immediately with ESPN, and both took off together. Well, it's a different world right now. So I don't think you can sit and solely analyze what's going to happen in the future based on what's happened in the past. I think that and we all are seeing this as it relates to sports to sports athletics in general is that the mold across the board has been broken and is being reformed and reshaped. And so every institution, I believe, every conference individually is looking at what's best for them on a go-forward basis. And the future will be very different than the past.
Theoretically,
Possibly.
if this were to be the last year of what we now call the Big East, would it mean more for you to win it?
It means every year you can win it. It's great.
It wouldn't mean a little bit more?
Okay. No. Winning it is great. Whether it's the first year or the last year, you got 200 years left. Winning is great.
How he's winning. How will you win against Western Carolina?
Chuck, you're not allowed to ask questions. I don't think they know we play Western Carolina.
They did have a.
The president.
They took Illinois down to the final few minutes in the day. What did you see about that?
They're a good team, meaning they have very good offensive. Excuse me. They have very good offensive pieces, and that you look across the board. And sometimes you play some teams, you say, okay, we will really focus on and stop these two guys. We should be okay over here. But they're across the board, they can put 5 really good offensive players on the court, and then they play a tough, aggressive defense that makes it hard to score. So we have to. We have to be good. We have to be very good.
During media day, you and I talked a little bit about leadership. Just if somebody looking casually at your roster, there's no seniors, so who can be the leader? You talked about different people kind of taking that challenge on. What have you seen so far? Have you seen anybody step up and kind of want to take that leadership role or fill that leadership?
I don't think it's a void, first of all. And secondly, I think the way this year's played out has been probably as so far, and we're still early in the season, you know, as I had expected in that I think the group is assuming that role, which is not always the case. Sometimes it is this person is clearly the one everyone looks to. You know, but I think with our group, different people, different days have stepped in. I think the group is a sincere group in that, you know, a lot of times, you know, you don't want to hear what you're doing wrong from your peer. I think this group has been open to being coached and open to being helped by their teammates. So, you know, is there one particular person that he's really stuck his neck out? Little Bill is the leader of this group. I don't think so. But on any given night, you know, you see, you know, Nate fills that role, Markel fills that role, Otto fills that role, Jabril fills that role. You know, and so and I can keep going. And I think they've been pretty good in that regard.
Anything else?